it's not going to alleviate the heat problem right now. But we also have a number of programs to do everything from allow people to have the ability to get help to literally paint their roofs white, to change their windows and doors and get tax credits for doing it, so air conditioning doesn't escape. To be able, there's a whole bunch of programs that are out there that, as we get through the heat wave, as we get by this worst part, that we're able to invest in the communities to keep it from happening as badly next time it occurs.
This is my video update from Moscow, Russia on this Friday, midday, July 28th. Let's talk about some news. And I am walking right now towards a fairly new park area called Zaryadye Park, which is right behind Red Square, actually right behind the St. Basil's Cathedral. And it's a must-see if you come to Moscow. Really nice park area. And we'll talk about some news as we walk over to this park on a rainy, humid, and all of a sudden windy day in Moscow. As I was walking here, there was no wind, like zero wind. And now there's all kinds of wind. So anyway, that's how it goes. I think the wind will stop, and I won't have to put on my my dead cat. But let's see how things go as I record this video. So one sec as I cross the street here. They're pretty friendly to pedestrians here in Moscow. For the most part, when you're at a crosswalk, the cars stop. So there's a whole bunch of construction and renovation going on here as well. This is going to be a really nice area as they finish up whatever work they're doing. But let's see here. Yeah, I think I'm going the right way. Looks like something out of a fairy tale, doesn't it? pretty unbelievable. Okay, so we're here to talk about some news. So let's talk about some news. And we have this Financial Times article, which came out the other day, which talks about a couple of things. It talks about how the Ukraine military is changing its tactics on the battlefield. It talks about how the Ukraine military has lost 1/5 of all of the military kit. That is what the Financial Times calls it, the military kit that NATO supplied to it for this big counteroffensive. It talks about how the Ukraine military is focusing on Bakhmut more than the Zaporozhye front. Still focusing on the Zaporozhye front. And the FT says that the Ukraine military is actually moving reserves into the southern area, which is an interesting admission. I wonder why they would need to move reserves into the south if things were going well. Obviously, things are not going well. And that's why they're moving reserves into the south. But it really talks about how Bakhmut is the big opportunity, according to the Financial Times and their sources in the Ukraine military. And finally, the article talks about how this This change in tactics is yielding results. Small territorial gains, but territorial gains nonetheless, according to the Financial Times. And how the Russians are running out of weapons because of this change of tactics. Yep, we're back to the Russians running out of weapons. We're back to that narrative. So the change of tactics, let's talk about that. What is the change of tactics that the Financial Times is so optimistic about? Well, the new tactics are that the Ukraine military is now going to pound the Russian military with artillery. That's what the Financial Times actually says. They're pounding the Russian military with their superior artillery. That's what the Financial Times claims, superior artillery. And they're pounding the Russian forces. And once they're done pummeling the Russian forces, they then move troops on foot in small groups across this 1,000-kilometer front line, and they gain small bits and pieces of territory until they get a breakthrough, until they achieve a collapse. And then the hopes, according to Elensky, the hopes are that these small incursions will lead to a steady crumbling of the Russian front line and an eventual collapse, and then the Ukraine military can move in their tanks and their Bradleys and all their vehicles and consolidate their gains. This is the strategy. This is the change in tactics. And according to all the sources that the Financial Times interviewed, they say that it's working. It's moving along at a very slow pace, but they say it is yielding results. Even Elensky, in his statement the other day, he said that things are going good on the battlefront. He didn't get into any details, according to the Financial Times, but he said that things are going good. I wonder why Elensky didn't get into any details. So that's the change in tactics, everybody. And then the Financial Times talks about Bakhmut and how the Ukraine military feels like Bakhmut is where they can deliver a crushing blow to the Russian military. The Financial Times actually says that Bakhmut holds very little strategic advantage, but if the Ukraine military delivers a fatal blow to the Russian military in Bakhmut, well, then they can deliver a fatal blow to the morale of the Russian military. So that's the strategy in Bakhmut. It's not about a strategic win. It's more about delivering a blow to the Russian military morale. And they say that Bakhmut is an easier front because the Russians have had less time to build fortifications in Bakhmut since they captured the town a few months ago. Even though the Ukraine government has still to this day not admitted that that the Russians have captured Bakhmut, the Financial Times does say that the Russians captured Bakhmut, and since the capture of Bakhmut, they haven't really had any time to build up defensive lines, and that's why the Ukraine military feels that they can achieve a breakthrough in Bakhmut. And then the article says that the Russians are outgunned. That's pretty much what the article says. It cites some military sources and some journalists, Ukraine military journalists who are on the front line, who claim that Russian weapons are indeed running out. Russian artillery is indeed running out. And for this, I'll have to read you a quote. Franz Stefan Gatti, a senior fellow with the International Institute for Strategic Studies, who recently visited the front line with Ukraine's officers, also said Moscow's forces were struggling to respond to Kiev's artillery power Russian artillery rationing is real and happening, he wrote on Twitter. Ukraine has established fire superiority in tube artillery or howitzers, while Russia retains superiority in MLRS in the south. So the FT is claiming that that Russia's running out of weapons, a certain type of artillery, but still, they're running out of weapons. Believe me, they're running out of weapons. Trust me. This guy posted on Twitter, they're running out of weapons. It's just a matter of time. So that's the Financial Times article, everyone. That's what they're claiming. They also said a couple of other things. They said that I talked about reserves have already been quietly committed to the South. I wonder why. Many inexperienced troops, the Financial Times said, were unprepared for the complex assault despite receiving Western training. So they admit to the fact that Ukraine is using inexperienced troops. I wonder why. Why are they using inexperienced troops? Why are troops being moved to reserves being moved to the south? Why are they focusing on Bakhmut when the whole big offensive was all about breaking through to the Sea of Azov? And they fall back on Russia is running out of artillery. They fall back on Russia's running out of weapons narrative again. So that's the article from the FT. And we have an article from, we'll walk up this way. We'll sit down actually for a bit as I read an article from USA Today. There's a lot of music here too, so I don't know if this video, I hope this video doesn't get a copyright strike, man. For some reason in this park, they're playing a whole lot of music. Oh boy, let's see. USA Today, they put out an article which contradicts much of the reporting from the Financial Times, which claims that things are going pretty well for the Ukraine military, at least on the surface of the Financial Times article. It points to a positive outlook for the Ukraine military. But when you dig into the Financial Times article and you grab some of the sentences that they throw in there, it's clear that they're covering up and things are not really going so well for Ukraine. But there's a USA Today article, and the USA Today, they interviewed a whole bunch of military experts, according to the USA Today. And this is what these military experts said. Experts say expecting Kiev to win is definition of insanity. Georgetown University professor Sean McFate, a senior fellow at the Atlantic Council think tank in Washington, told the USA Today that the Ukrainian President Elensky has begun to lose credibility, Kiev's main asset with Western benefactors. He claimed that Elensky has locked himself into a position in which he can't win, but can't afford to lose either. NATO is experiencing donor fatigue and disappointment with Elensky's bluster, said McFate, a U.S. Army veteran who also has consulted for the Pentagon and the CIA. He added that continuing to send billions of dollars worth of weaponry to Ukraine on expectations that Elensky's regime can win the conflict is the definition of strategic insanity. Air Force veteran Stephen Myers, an entrepreneur who has advised the U.S. State Department on foreign policy, told USA Today that a stalemate was the most likely outcome because, contrary to the Western political and media narrative, Russian President Putin never intended a war of conquest. While NATO members have argued that Ukraine must be supported because Putin planned to conquer Kiev and move westward, Myers suggested that Russia has proven otherwise. Russian military tactics during the conflict have been completely inconsistent with conquest, Myers said. Rather, he added, Putin's only real agenda was to keep Ukraine out of NATO. Strategically, this war was lost by both sides before it started. It will end in stalemate, which I think was Putin's intent from the get-go. So those were comments from some think tank experts and some military veterans from USA Today, which pushed the narrative, and I think this is becoming a dominant narrative in the collective West, which is that both sides have lost. This is a stalemate. Interesting that the one Army veteran or Air Force veteran, he said that that Putin never intended to conquer Ukraine, and that he was looking for a stalemate all along. That was his initial plan from the get-go, was to get a stalemate. So I thought that was an interesting comment. But the dominant narrative now is that, let's walk up this way, is that this conflict is turning out to be a stalemate. No side's going to win, which is an interesting change of direction, I have to admit. Because for a year and a half, the narrative was that Ukraine can win and Ukraine will win and Russia will be defeated for as long as it takes. That was the narrative. Now it seems like we are being fed a new narrative, which is that this is going to be a stalemate. No side's going to win. No one's going to win. It's a stalemate. And this is what Putin wanted all along. And this is what the West can accept as well, right? The collective West will be able to accept the narrative of a stalemate. Everything is shifting. And as I'm walking, you can hear that the ground is is a bit sticky as I'm walking across this walkway. But they're preparing us. They are preparing us. Let's walk. Should we walk around like that? Let's do that. Today it is humid and hot and cold and rainy. This is some pretty brutal weather, I have to admit. So let's see, what else can we talk about? How about Seymour Hersh's his latest article, where he claims that the United States was behind the bridge attacks, both bridge attacks. And he said that, citing anonymous sources, he said that it was U.S. tech that helped destroy these bridges, which is plausible. I can believe it. And if it's coming from Seymour Hersh, well, it makes it pretty credible that that's a pretty credible possibility that the U.S. was involved in the Kerch Bridge strike. I don't know what I'm saying. I have no idea what I'm saying. I'm just walking and just kind of looking in awe. I apologize. I lost my train of thought. Let me get back on track. Seymour Hersh comes out with a claim like this, that the U.S. was helping to strike the bridges. I think that is a pretty serious claim. If it comes from Seymour Hersh, that's big news. So there's that article as well. And we can talk now a bit about Trump, perhaps, to wrap up the video. There's more I guess more charges brought up against Donald Trump. This time the charges have to do with a couple of employees at Mar-a-Lago. And I guess the claims are that these employees that worked at Mar-a-Lago, they were moving boxes before the FBI raided Mar-a-Lago, and now they're being charged. So, you know, whatever, whatever. I think we're now looking at 42 charges that have been levied against Donald Trump, connected with a couple of boxes that he had at Mar-a-Lago. Let me zoom in, actually. Let's see here. There we go. So you can get a better view. All right. So, yeah. So they're going after Trump hard. They're trying to prevent Trump from winning the Republican nomination because he's way ahead. Way ahead of everybody else. And the only way they can get Trump is through lawfare. So they're going after Trump. They're going after everyone that worked at Mar-a-Lago. They're throwing everything they have at Trump to prevent him from winning the Republican nomination. While they're going after Trump, they have all of this Hunter Biden stuff, and and the Biden DOJ is not doing anything, right? The Biden DOJ is not doing anything. They're trying to actually cover things up for Hunter, trying to give him like blanket immunity. Ridiculous stuff. They've got like 5 million going to Hunter, 5 million going to the big guy. They got video, they've got audio, they got documents, they got it all, man. They got it all. But they're upset with Trump because he moved some boxes at Mar-a-Lago, allegedly. Oh, boy. And remember the FTX story? Sam Bankman-Fried and FTX and all of that stuff. Well, slowly, they're dropping charges against FTX. Another charge was dropped the other day. They dropped another charge like about a month ago. Slowly, they're letting FTX and Sam Bankman-Fried off the hook, and no one is noticing. Let me see here what the charges were that were dropped against campaign finance charges. They're saying that, I think they said that they have some treaty with the Bahamas, and because of this treaty, they're going to drop the charges of campaign financing against FTX and Sam Bankman-Fried. And he's going to get off. He's going to get off, everyone. FTX and Sam Bankman-Fried. He's going to walk. I bet you he's going to walk, or he's going to get some sort of real easy sentence, you know, maybe like a year at a country club, prison and parole or something like that, and that'll be it. So let's do a clown world. We'll wrap this video up. This has been a tough video to make. I have to be honest with everyone. tough weather conditions. So the Babylon Bee. They put out an article, a Babylon Bee article, which I found to be hilarious. Someone sent this to me via email, and I'll put it on the screen right now. And it says, "Greetings, Earth. Our planet desperately needs 40 billion in foreign aid," says alien commander who looks suspiciously like Elensky in a spirit Halloween mask. Oh, bad. Greetings, Earthlings. This is alien Elensky. I need $40 billion to buy many homes. Please give me money, Earthlings. I buy many homes on Mars. Oh, man. Even the Babylon Bee is making fun of Elensky now. That guy, man. That guy's on borrowed time. I'm telling you. He is on borrowed time. So, yeah, the whole alien talk. One big distraction, right? One big, massive, huge distraction. So we have one more clown world, and I'll wrap this video up. And there was the Sun put out a video, the UK Sun. They put out a video, and they said that there was like, the video was like, this is a Russian tank getting obliterated by Ukraine artillery, right? Or Ukraine drone. And they actually tried to push this nonsense and these lies, and the comment section was like, don't even go there. This is a Ukraine tank that is getting blown up by a Russian Lancet drone. And they tried to pass it off as a Russian tank when in fact it was a Ukraine tank. Anyway, that's the video, everybody. theduran.locals.com. We are on Rumble, ODYSEE, BitChute, Telegram, and Rockfin. Go to the Duran shop. 10% off. Use the code Good Day. Oh boy, I'm wiped out. I am wiped out. Take care, everybody.